Hi, this is Christy Littlejones of MyRelationshipRevolution.com, where we ignite a radical, sudden, and a complete change in your relationship. Thank you for joining me. Heart to Heart with Christy is a safe place for married couples to take off the mask and show up real. So many couples are suffering in silence, and their marriages are unraveling at the seams. Well, here is where you go through radical relationship development, sudden skill building techniques, and fundamental strategies that are designed to bring complete change, a deeper connection, more effective communication, more fun, more faith, and more friendship in your marriage. So from my heart to yours, today's topic is about sex. I told you we were going to show up real. I can't begin to tell you how many couples I have spoken to that have told me that they are not participating and engaging in regular physical intimacy. That is not what God designed. God designed physical intimacy for your pleasure, for procreation, and for your protection. So what does that mean? That if you are a married couple not engaging in regular physical intimacy with your spouse, you are leaving your marriage unprotected. Unprotected from who, you may ask? Unprotected from the attack of the enemy, whose sole purpose is to steal, kill, and destroy what God has brought together. Marriage was created by God, and so the enemy's attack is constant, and this is warfare 101. So if you are not engaging in regular physical intimacy with your spouse, you are leaving your marriage unprotected. And so today at Heart to Heart with Christy, I want to share with you some tips that will help you get back to having more regular, more frequent physical intimacy with your spouse. But first, I want to talk about what happens when you don't, and not to mention being unprotected, but if you do not engage in just the affection and the having the sexual desires and the needs met, your partner, your spouse, or even collectively, what happens is problems mushroom in your marriage, right? Now, I know that I did not get married to have a roommate, and I'm sure you didn't get married to have a roommate either. And so I wanted to just share this one nugget before I give you the tips. One is that before you get married, physical intimacy, sex, is a choice. It is a choice that you make to either wait for marriage or you don't wait for marriage, but you still have a choice. When you do get married, so after marriage, physical intimacy becomes a responsibility. It is no longer a choice. I can't begin to tell you how many couples I have helped walk through just challenges in their marriage that think that sexual intimacy becomes a choice when they get married. That's not the case. If you are married and if you've decided to get married, or maybe you are going to get married, I want to tell you that sex is a responsibility. This is something that God created for your pleasure. He created it for your good. And so many couples in particular, they use physical intimacy in a way to hurt, in a way to really give room for the enemy to wreak havoc in their lives and in their marriages. So let's start with step number one. How can you get back to having more physical intimacy in your marriage? One is have a conversation. That's step one. Have a conversation with your spouse about what physical intimacy looks like to them. Because what physical intimacy looks like to a husband can be completely different than the wife. And it's important to understand what your spouse needs in order to feel fulfilled in that area. And so it could be including hand-holding, hugging, cuddling, kissing. Physical intimacy does not just mean sex. So it's the physical touch and the affection that can lead up to the final product, or the gift, I should say, that God has given each of us. Number two, Create a safe space, a safe place for your spouse to express their intimate selves. And so there's no judgment, there's no manipulation, there's no laughing or invalidating the way your spouse communicates their intimacy or even initiating an intimacy. This is critical. This is very important because physical intimacy is a very vulnerable place because it's the one thing that only you and your spouse share. So this is where you can really take off the mask and show up real. But it's very important for each spouse to create a safe place for the other to do that. Then number 3, do not allow the enemy to use rejection as a tool. Let me explain what that means. If your spouse initiates affection by reaching out to hold your hand or wanting a hug or even an extended kiss, but you pull away or you push away, or even intimacy. Say your husband wants to initiate physical intimacy, sex with you, and you're like, ugh, or you are just totally turned off, or you are totally a dead fish, so you're not participating. These acts of rejection are very hurtful, very, very hurtful in marriage. And so this is something that cannot happen. And so a way to overcome that and not allowing the enemy to use rejection as a tool in your marriage, specifically with physical intimacy, is to communicate. What I mean by that is, let's say Adrian wants to, or he's initiating that he wants physical intimacy, but it's not necessarily a good time, or the time is a little off because I'm in the middle of cooking, or I'm in the middle of helping the kids with their homework, or in the middle of doing something that is going to take a period of time. So what I would do, or what I could say is, hey babe, I need 20 minutes to finish this up and then I'm all yours. But when you say that, or you give your spouse a time frame, make your word mean your word. So have integrity. If it's 20 minutes, make sure it's 20 minutes and it's not an hour later and you'd be like, hey, I'm here, I'm ready. Because at that point, they're fuming. And then they feel like they weren't a priority. So it's important for you to communicate very effectively and efficiently when you are going to respond positively to your spouse's initiation. Okay? Last one is to get physical. Go ahead and actually put everything into practice. Get physical, whatever that means. Hold hands, hug each other, hold each other, cuddle, make love, whatever it is, but be physical. And I have an additional challenge for you with this assignment, and that is that you have 24 hours. 24 hours to complete it to fruition. 24 hours from the end of watching this video. So please share this with your spouse so they can be on the same page. And in addition, if you know a couple that is struggling in their marriage, that is suffering in silence, and you know it, please forward this video to them. Please forward this email and ask them to take the challenge as well. Because I promise you, if you can get this right, if you can get this back on track, it will drastically change the way you guys see one another, the way you and your spouse communicate and really relate to one another. The last thing I wanted to mention is there are many couples who I have talked to and I know that are out there that have not been intimate in weeks, months, maybe even years. From newlyweds to being married for a very long time. So I want you to start small. And I want you to start with holding hands. Start with an extended hug or extended kiss. And then be very intentional to make the decision that you would rather reconcile, get back on track in this area. You'd rather do that than be right. Because when you want to be right over being reconciled, that is a playground for the enemy to wreak havoc. Because again, all of these walls and barriers are built up. Bitterness, anger, resentment, all of these walls that are built up that continue to bring a wedge and cause distance between you and your spouse. Okay? And lastly, I wanted to share, if you are watching this video and you do not get my regular emails or e-zine or video blog from Heart to Heart with Christy, I have created a very quick way for you to get it delivered right into your inbox. So you would need to take out your cell phone, and I need you to type the word HEART, HEART, to number 703-260-7100. And then you'll get an email or a text back from me that you need to click on the link, fill in your name, your email, and your cell phone number so that you can get connected and get these marriage-changing, relationship-changing video blogs, as well as the practical exercises and strategies and techniques that I will continue to give you to help your marriage experience more fun, more faith, and more friendship, and ultimately a deeper connection and greater communication, which will all around make you happier and experience marriage the way God intended. So thank you again for spending these few minutes with me today. I really appreciate it. Again, this is Christy Littlejones of MyRelationshipRevolution.com, and you have just finished watching Heart to Heart with Christy. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.